We're recording. Hi. I always ask people how they're doing, even though we already just spoke a bit.
Yeah,
But how
there's
are you again?
um, you know, it's been long 2 weeks, but we're getting through and just, doing the best we can every day. That's
Mm,
what matters.
yeah. Would you mind telling whoever's potentially watching this your name, your age, and then your relationship with SAIC? Well, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. My name is Meli. I am 21, going to be 22 in around a month, and I just recently graduated from SAIC this spring, 2020. So I attended from the years 2016 to 2020.
Yes. Can you tell us why you originally came to SAIC?
Yeah. So SASU actually wasn't in my forerunning of like top schools. I was actually hoping to go to Boston. But I think when I went to a national portfolio day here in Arizona, where I'm from, the way that they spoke about the school and the way that they, I think, just like interacted with me and just like the admissions person who was like just there behalf, like I felt a little bit more welcomed
Mm-hmm.
there, and I felt like they were just responding to like who I was as a person more than any other school that I had seen that day. And I think just doing more in-depth like research after that, I felt like the interdisciplinary thing really pushed me to like want to go, which is funny considering the trajectory of my path there. But
Mm-hmm.
I think that I was like, oh, like I can kind of create what I do, and like I'm in control of my major, and like I'm in control of like what art means to me. So that's like I think what really like drove me to go to SAC
Mm-hmm.
at the end.
Can you also tell us what your focuses were when it came
Yeah,
to your
so
studies?
so I was, which is again, I was like interdisciplinary. I love all these departments, but I actually ended up just being in the print media department the whole 4 years at school. But I did dabble in a lot of VCS, which is visual critical studies, so just like reading and writing and like theory. And I like dabbled in video work very lightly, not gonna like promote that too much. But yeah, but I did a lot of print media. That's where I lived. That's where I was like most at home. I call that my home department. And I did like anything in that department, like screen printing, lithography, relief, etching, book binding.
Yeah,
So
your
it was
books.
just like the full scope of it all.
Hmm. Do you feel like your experience in those were good, or how do you feel about your experience?
I think about I have a lot of thoughts for sure, especially because I just graduated.
Yeah.
But I am gonna say this: I think that I got lucky in my department in terms of like just the print department's energy and like sense of community. I think like it's one of the most like, how do I explain this? Just like
Warm and
very comfortable. Yeah, yeah, like
mhm.
very comfortable departments. It's like people are like, hey, are you also struggling with this? Let me help you. Or like, hey, I know how to do this. Let me do. So it's very collaborative. It's very like team effort in there, and it feels just very kind of like everyone's here to like grow and like work off of each other, which is like really great. Like I love every single to be determined, but
Yeah.
like I have a lot of love. I have so much love for a lot of the faculty and staff that works at the pre media department. um just because like, yeah, we're all a bunch of nerds, that like love making repeated images over time, so it's like we all kind of like have this like really like good love for it. So like I really appreciated the community that was fostered there. In terms of like critiques, that's different,
Oh,
you know
that's actually the next point. So if you want to
okay,
get
yeah.
into it, you can get into it.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. Bet. But I think like in terms of the premier department though, I had a really like positive experience. I got to like learn so much over I think such a period of time, like 4 years. That's like so much. It's like I learned so much. I did like every premier process, I think. So and every faculty that I had was like really open to work with me, which is again super appreciative because I mean I had taken some drawing classes, and I think like compared to like my drawing classes I felt more open to like expand my practice just because I don't know what it is about the painting and drawing department. They're just so rigid, and I felt like very kind of like had their own set expectations of like who I wanted to be or like what I should be. Whereas the print media department's like, okay, who are you? This is where we're at. Where are you gonna go? And it was very like, I think more receptive to like my own growth. But that being said, it's not without fault, not beyond critique. It's predominantly white. I mean, this is a predominantly white school. I'm not going to, put that above, but it is a very predominantly white department. So I think like just kind of like that gave my work a whole different like lens in terms of critiques. I was one of the many victims of like the notorious silent critiques, and that's just kind of like what happens when you're a person of color, like in these situations, and I think that's just like an issue that needs to be addressed at the school just overall, that a lot of people just aren't prepared to speak about people's work and aren't prepared to have the right language, which I think is very funny because we spend like 50% of our homework doing readings with very big words. But I think that was just that, like, to find like a really good guidance or to find like really good like direction, I had to like really dig for it, and I had to like really push my faculty and peers sometimes to like really like get it out of them to be like, okay, but like, can I get like a really well-rounded critique on like what I'm doing, other than like, okay, you make pictures about immigrant labor, wow, and it's like you need to like dig for that, which is like tiring, obviously, but it's what it is. But I will say, like, I am very like proud of like the steps that like have been being taken. I mean, like, there are 2 Black female professors or faculty in the preview department, and they're doing like really good stuff. Yeah, we have Gina Valentine. Gina Valentine does screen printing. I think teaches bookmaking as well and advises for Advanced Print Studio. So that's great. And then we have like Ayana Moore, who was actually the head of the print department last year, but they switched heads. And she teaches print practices, advanced print, and a class I think is only taught in the fall, Black in the Woods, with Krista Franklin, which is like print media and writing. So I will say that I think that even though like the print media department is predominantly white, SAIC though, as in general, I think like they do have like this really good, I don't want to call it corner, but it's like, like Black women are teaching courses and they're constructing like curriculum, and it's like just being able to like see like them coming in, because like when I was a freshman, they weren't there, so it's like, and now that I have graduated, and it's like I can look now and it's like, wow, there's 2 Black female professors in my department now, and like that's more than like a lot of departments across the board, and that's just like exactly. And so it's like that makes me happy to see in my department, and it's like, I mean, and otherwise, I mean, there's like some other female instructors. We have Myung Han. She's Korean. She's great. But yeah, no, it's like, again, like Black women to the forefront. Like I'm happy to see that, so.
Oh, I didn't know that. This is why these interviews happen. Oh,
exactly.
That's good. What about do you have like a class that you just feel like wasted your time? Because you've had a lot of them, so I just feel like since you've graduated, you can just.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Unless they're paying me, I'm not gonna pander unless I'm getting compensated. And even then, I'm kidding. But I think I had a representational drawing class with Judith Geichman in the painting and drawing department. No, I think that I didn't really learn anything in that class. It was a drawing class, but I felt like, I think that faculty, Judith Geichman, just kind of like has an issue across the board. I've had other peers who have taken her class and were like, yeah, she said some microaggressions to me, or like, yeah, exactly. And it's like, she just kind of like talks to her students in a way where she has like this expectation of them and they need to fill it. And I was like, girl, I'm not here to be who you want me to be. I'm not here to do what you want me to do. Like, I'm here to do what I want and like what I think is good for me. And so there was just like some issues with her. So that class definitely wasted my time. Like I when I finished that class, I was like, wow, like I could have not taken this. I could have definitely not taken this. I know a lot of freshmen have like an issue with like the intro art
Like
history
core.
class.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say core, because
Oh,
that's all
well,
I've been hearing is just core, core,
yeah,
core.
yeah. And that's the thing. I'm like, everyone hates core, and like
I
that's a
didn't
part of.
mind it. I thought it was like
I didn't
cool.
hate it, but I didn't like. I wasn't too jazzed. But here's the thing: since everyone's hating on it, I'm not gonna hate on it also because it's like y'all heard that already. Y'all don't need to hear that again. But I know everyone hates that first class, like the
Like
intro to
the
like art, the
um
1000 level art history
it's
class, world
survey. It's
history,
like a
whatever.
survey something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I will say those, are terrible. Those are very terrible. I lucked out. I lucked out, and I got Jennifer Nelson, who teaches that class, but she structured that class in a way where it was like, okay, this is the canon, and this is why it's messed up, and this is everything that's overlooked because of this. So like, I looked out in that, but I know that that class is like,
I did not
so I'm
get
trying to
that.
also Jennifer Nelson, if you're an incoming SAIC freshman and you get her for your like intro art history class, it's gonna be good. She's particular, but the class is good. I'm trying to also think about like what else. Like, I'm gonna say. I mean, I'm gonna say this. I got lucky with a lot of my classes. I think like if you know what you want and you know like what you're interested in and you're like really set in like what you like or like what you're open to like learning about, then like you're gonna get great classes. Like you're gonna get like sophomore seminar. Oh my god, sophomore seminar wasted my time.
Oh.
Sophomore seminar wasted my
Which one
time.
did you
Like
have? Because like
I
for fashion,
had,
we don't get to like choose. It's just like it's integrated in the
yeah,
program. So like all of my friends
yeah.
chose like their topics, I guess.
I was not smart, and I took a sophomore seminar that was not in the print department. I actually took a sophomore seminar that was in the VCS department, and it just was like not my cup of tea, or like I just think I wasn't mentally in the space to like take that class. It was just like reading and discussion only, and I think like I needed to like push my practice. I think that was a time where I needed to push my practice more, which is maybe I should have taken the media practice one, but hey, can't do much about that now. It's been 2 years. But I think overall though, everyone also has qualms with sophomore seminar in terms of that it's like it feels like such a filler class, which I think is like an issue along the board of like a lot of like the spine classes, which is like the integrated like classes. So there's like core research, sophomore seminar, professional practice, and capstone. Professional practice and capstone will be a little bit more beneficial than sophomore seminar and those other ones. But yeah, I think definitely sophomore seminar and having to like write an essay. Oh, what are your plans for your rest of the time at SAIC? I don't know. I'm 19. I don't know. Like I change my mind about what classes I'm going to take like every day, or like like what if I'm not interested in what I'm doing now in a year, which is like happens all the time, more than people realize. Like your practice is changing like on a monthly basis, honestly. So
Yeah.
I think like I think sophomore seminar was like, okay, like plan things out for the rest of your time here, be so structured. It's like, no, like that's not for a school that prides itself on being so interdisciplinary and like experimentation and blah blah. It's like they want everything to be so set. It's like pick a side, pick a side. So yeah, so I think so yeah, in terms of like classes where I was like, oof, that drawing class, representational drawing, and sophomore seminar, I was like, oof, did not need that like at all. But other than that, I got really lucky with my classes because I did the work. I won't lie. Like I was researching. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
this is the class I want to take. But
I think a lot of people also forget that there's that resource of like, I forgot what exactly it's called, but it's like looking at the class reviews.
yeah,
And like
right
it
here,
like blows my
class
mind when
reviews,
people don't
man.
do their reviews, because then I'm like, how are we supposed to know like
Yeah,
how good the class is?
exactly.
Because like those are how I choose my classes. Like if the review's terrible, I'm not taking the class. So yeah, whoever's like coming in, that's definitely something to look at.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. And I think a resource that like people need to like do more, which is like super informal. Talk to your professors. What classes should I take, or what classes do you think I should benefit from? Because they're gonna know you more than the person in academic advising. You know, like they're gonna know your work more. So it's like, and like honestly, that's like what I did. I think my first 4 semesters, I like would wake up like, hey, like what do you recommend teaching, or like, or just asking your friends. You know, like I ended up picking this one art history class my fall semester of my junior year because like 3 different friends recommended it to me. Took it. One of the best, I think maybe the best art history class I've ever taken.
What was it?
Contemporary cartography with Rhoda Rosen. Great class, fantastic class. It's like dense in terms of like theory and material and stuff, but if you like that stuff, but it's like, it's interesting. It's like contemporary cartography. It's like thinking about maps and like how they're fueled by politics and white supremacy and like authoritarianism and like control and
Okay,
power.
that
So
does
it's like
sound good.
it's great. It's
That
great.
does
No,
sound
Rhoda Rosen, that's my
interesting.
girl. I love her.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, since we're like on the topic of like, mean, I know you keep saying that you got lucky with a lot of your classes, but do you have like an ultimate favorite?
Ultimate favorite class. I'll do like a studio one, and then I'll do like one that's not a studio to like, because
To be fair.
that's like a little. So my all-time favorite class that's like not, that's more academic, SAIC, for as long as I live, will be oh wow, I like forgot about it. Oh, Sociology of Latinas with Cristina Gomez. That woman is my adopted aunt, Tia, for y'all who speak Spanish. But no, that class was like beautiful. It was like every time I'd go into that class, it was definitely like an emotional experience, but like one that's where it's like, you know, like I would walk out and I'm like, you know what, I'm a better person, or like I know something that I need to know. You know, but yeah, no, it's a social science class, but and it's sociology. Christina Gomez has her doctorates in sociology, and she like single-handedly like created basically like this class and like even this branch of like sociology, like specifically about like Latino women and like the tribulations that like we like go through like over generations. And so like I learned so much in that class, not just about like women that look like me over the history of time, but also like about myself. And like I think being able to like see myself, see my mom, see my grandmother, see my little sister in a like people that like in that class, like in the readings and the syllabuses in the movies we watched, like it meant a lot. It was like very important to me. So that class was great. And then studio wise, my favorite studio class probably was intro to bookmaking with Kate Conlon. I'm not gonna say advanced print because honestly that was just me doing my work. So but intro to bookmaking was like just so fun. Like learning how to like bind your own book is like so satisfying. Like there's no greater feeling in the world than like making a book, like a hardcover book, and just like showing your friends and being like, I made that. I did this with my 2 hands. Like, what did you do today? Like, I swear, every Friday I'd like be like, look at this new book stitch I did. Look at this new book I bound. Like, look at this hardcover like I constructed today. It's so rewarding. And it's like now I make my own sketchbooks. I make my own sketchbooks. You know, like it's just like it's practical and also just like so rewarding because it's like wow, I can make something. You know, that like I can use, that other people can use, that I can sell, you know. But no, it's like it's just like this really great class because it's like, oh my god, I can make something and it feels real and it's like rewarding. I like every time, even now, like I'll make a book and I'm like, wow, like I made this book myself with my hands.
I could tell you really got into it. I mean, even though I only met you my freshman year, like when you did like your book sale, I was so sad I couldn't get a book. Oh my gosh.
Y'all want to commission me? Y'all can commission me for notebooks anytime.
I mean, I'm gonna put your Instagram below so like people can like find you.
Yes. Please follow. Please follow.
Hopefully soon I will be not financially because
yeah, I hope that for all of us.
yeah, because I would just love to buy like a sweet 5. Ugh, Your
Yeah.
books. I just love your books.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh yeah, of course. Um, Here's like our next question, which is, do you like the school as it is, or would you change anything about it?
Hmm.
Because like you know a lot about the school because you worked for them, you
I did.
graduated from
Yeah.
them, you've
Yeah,
like
I
dealt
did.
with stuff.
Exactly. I spent a lot of time at school. Like I had 2 on-campus jobs. I also like ran a student group on campus, and had been involved since my freshman year. So I was on campus a lot, like a lot. Um, it's a hard question,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like so obviously it's a big question, but I think I accept it for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Am I happy with it? Not necessarily. Um, but I accept it and I did benefit from it. Like I benefited from it. I learned a lot. I got access to a lot of resources that I never would have even dreamed about having if I went to school in state. But I will say, like, things that I would change is their bureaucracy.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's a lot with SAIC in terms of like optics and like how they look and what they say they're doing versus I think like things that they could be doing on like a smaller scale to
Mm-hmm.
help their students.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's like things that I would definitely change is like the off-campus requirement and like
Mm-hmm.
making it so hard to like get these credits. Like um
When schools are already so
there's
expensive.
exactly, because so for anyone that's like kind of like lost, for you to graduate from SAC, you need 6 off-campus credits or 2 classes. But yes, you could take a class at like a community college, but it can't be a class that could be in any way, shape, or form taken at SAIC. Yeah, so you can't take like a figure drawing class, unless you're transferring that in from like before you come in. So it's like I think that the biggest obstacle for me at that school was like not being heard in terms of like my financial status.
Mm-hmm.
That was just like I think my biggest roadblock is like, hey, you're expecting me to do this unpaid internship for a semester for 3 credits and for me to pay you for it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
not
so I
telling them
think
I'm
like
doing my
that needs to
internship.
be like gone. I think like if I do an internship, if whether it's paid for or unpaid for, you're gonna take my credit for it, and I don't need to pay you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, because I found the internship, I interviewed for it, I'm doing the work. You didn't do anything for me
Mm-hmm.
at all. So I think definitely that, and it's just like the expectation. It's like, oh yeah, like you can do an internship for free, like, and like still live and not
Mm-hmm.
need to pay for like living expenses. Like yeah, like that's totally fine. Like I just think there's that like air of like, hey, like your parents can pay for like your living expenses, right? Or like you don't have to like worry about money. It's like, yes, I do. I most definitely do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just like something that's not really paid attention to as much. Like
Mm-hmm.
in academic advising, in definitely the financial aid office.
Mm-hmm. The
Definitely
only
there.
I've said this so many times, the only person there that has actually given me any time of day is Kevin. And he's the head of the department.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think like yeah, because I think obviously like there's the qualms where it's like, yeah, I've had microaggressions to me, or my critiques have been silent, like there is that, but I think like my more like intense issues with it is just like the inability to aid people that you so want at your institution. Like they
Mm-hmm.
want to like they want to be like, oh yeah, we're so inclusive and we do a lot of community work. Okay, do that community work with your students.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start there, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like I just don't think that they do enough for like their struggling students of color financially.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like what I would 100% definitely change. Also, maybe just tweak the requirements to graduate. We require so many credits to graduate. Like it's kind of ridiculous. I think it's 127, and I think like a regular BFA is like 123 or something
Mm-hmm.
like that. But yeah, so
Cause like it doesn't make you like you end up taking like a class either over the summer or winter, right?
Yeah, no, it's like unless no, yeah, I had to take last summer. I took a class over the summer to graduate on time. Although graduating on time that is a construct. Like, girl, graduate when you want. But yeah, no, like to graduate in 4 years. Like I had transferred in how many? I think I transferred in 3 credits in, and even taking 15 credits every semester, transferred 3 credits in, I still had to finish 3 extra credits. And I ended up doing that last summer. And it's like, it's so much effort and just so much like time. Oh my God, I don't know why I didn't think about this until right now, but 9 to 4 classes. 9 to 4 classes. I think keep the 9 to 4 frame, but make the 9 to 12 mandatory. The rest is optional. If you got to stay, do what you got to do. If not, we'll see each other, see you next week, just because it's like such a time commitment. Like 9 to 4, that's like 6 hours in class, an hour for lunch, and it's like, I think this goes back to my other point about like being able to financially support yourself. Like, you have a 9 to 4 class, you can't go to work that day because you have a 9 to 4 class unless you're working like 5 to close,
and then you normally have 3 of them, so
exactly. And that's exhausting. Like, this is so exhausting, like especially if you're trying to like financially support yourself. It's hard. It's really, really hard. And I think that too, it's like burnout is definitely a thing. Like, I know like there's been many times that I've been in my studio at my 9 to 4 class where I'm like, okay, I did all I could do in the first 3 hours. Now I have nothing to do and I don't know what to do, but I have to be here for another 3 hours. I'm sitting here at my studio desk and I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I think like that's just like what I think a lot of like what I've heard with like people that I graduated, where it's like, oh my God, I didn't need to be there for 6 hours. I really didn't. So
I honestly felt that with core, because like, I mean, while I did enjoy it, like there would be some days in core where you're just like sitting and you're not doing anything, and like I end up going on my computer and I just feel like I'm the kind of person where I hate wasting time, because like I don't have much. Like you may think you have much, but honestly you don't know how much time you have. And just like when you know your time is just not being used as you want it to be, it's frustrating. Like I get that there are some classes that may need it. Like I feel like in fashion we don't have enough class time, but like with
y'all are different. Y'all are different.
It's very.
I have so much respect for y'all because
it's a very different section. But like, what class was it? I don't know. My mind is kind of failing me because it's 10 o'clock.
I was like, it's okay.
But like, there are definitely gonna be those moments where it's just like, why am I here? And it's funny because in orientation they're like, not everyone will understand why you have to take 9 to 4 classes, but you do because you love it. And like at first I was like, I do love it, but then like I started wasting my time and I was like, okay.
It happens. It happens. It happens. And yeah, there's been. I mean, I was there for 4 years, and yeah, there's a lot of those times where I was like, damn, didn't need to be here, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, do you feel like you were well prepared to graduate? Like, not like, I mean like, because you graduated on time, but like, do you feel like they prepared you for like what you should do next?
I think that's a hard question for sure. Also, because like I graduated in such a really weird circumstance.
Way. Yeah.
Like I graduated like with a pandemic, and it's like I lost my last 2 months of my senior year, and we're in like, which is another thing. If you go to SAIC, honestly, use CapEx more than I did. Like, I should have used them way more than. And this thing, I was like, in my last month of school, I'm gonna go into CapEx and I'm gonna like see like where I can apply. Yeah, I couldn't do that because pandemic. But and obviously they have like their online resources and stuff, but still, I think like I was prepared in terms of like what to do because of how much work I put in. I think like I got a lot of resources there. It's like I think like they gave me like certain tools, but like I'm the one that put the work in and I'm the one that like made it work for me. Like trying to think of an example. Yeah, so it's like I found, like obviously I did my internship for credit, blah blah blah. But like I found an internship,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like and I interned for an independent like publishing house, um, in Chicago, Perfect Acceptable Press. I'm gonna shout them out, Matt, love you. Um, and I like got a lot of experience there in terms of like, oh, okay, like I can self-publish by myself, or it's like
Mm-hmm.
I can do this with a really small team, in terms of like how I was prepared to like graduate, I'm gonna like just thank my department a lot. Like I'm just really gonna like really just thank my department and the connections I made at school.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think like that's really like what I really like am gonna like push forward. It's like that's how I feel a little bit more. I mean, pandemic economic standpoint right now, I don't even want to talk about that. But in terms of like what I thought was gonna happen after graduation, no, I was like very excited for like my future. Obviously, like I didn't really have like I didn't have a job lined up. I didn't, stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
like in terms of like my skill set and in terms of like my trajectory, like I was like, yeah, no, let's do this. Like, let's go. And I think that just came from like the people I met at school, and I was like, I know you know blank many people.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be like gross about networking because I don't want to call it networking. I think it's like building your community. I think that's like the way I look at it. Um, Again, like there's so many like brown and black people at school, and I think like we're doing our best to like uplift each other and to really kind of like watch out for each other. And I think like that's really what it was with the connections that I've made. At least like the black and brown ones too. It's like I see you, you see me, we're here to support each other. If something comes up, I'm gonna let you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's very like that, so like I think like that's that's why I feel prepared to go out and to like make plans and to like move forward. Because I mean like I just launched like my press, which is Navaja Press. It's like my own self-publishing like venture. Working it out, or we're in
Because I saw
progress right
you
now.
built your home studio, and I was just like, okay,
Did, yeah, see,
Meli
and
is
that too.
just.
Like I think even being able to like fathom how to have a print at home, build a home studio. I think I picked that up at the shop.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, this is what I need to print. These are the basic necessities. This is how I can do it at home. And it's like I learned that in the shop. I learned that in these classes and like speaking to like the people that I worked with, like my teachers. Like my teacher was like, oh, like you don't like to screen print at home. You just need like a piece of wood and some clamps, and then boom, you're good. And I was like, you know what, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like that's really like what it was. It's like gaining knowledge like one to one from like people that were around me and that like really like cared to like show me like how to move forward. More than like honestly more than any class, more than like any lecture I went to. Although those matter, like those matter. I learned a lot of those. But yeah, no, I think like just the people I know. Also, like Chicago itself, like as a city, like Chicago Art Book Fair happens every November. Like just being and the schools associated with it, and just like being able to go to that, like and having the SAIC booth there, like I've met so many presses. I met so many people, that I now am like hoping to work with.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I think it's really just that like the connections and like the relationships I've made that like have made me secure to be like, you know what, like I can do this and like I can like do what I want, and like just work it out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Oh, I'm so happy for your press. That's so
Thank you.
great.
Yeah.
Oh.
Thanks.
Okay, well, I guess to end, because this has been a great interview so far. Um, oh my gosh, mind work. What advice would you give for people that are looking at SAIC or that have like been enrolled like this year, like are incoming freshmen, or just
Uh-huh.
like people that go here?
Um
Anyone,
yeah,
honestly.
yeah, yeah. I think know yourself. And I know that's hard because I don't think anyone like truly like is gonna know themselves like top to bottom. But I think like know what you want and like be like really open about like what it is you do.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that gets to a lot of people at school where it's like people are constantly being like, oh, like your work should do this or your work is doing this. I think you should go in this direction. And it's like, yes, take that in, like definitely like take in like these what people are saying, but I think like don't compromise yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I think like it takes a lot of resilience to stay at SAIC as a brown and black person specifically. Like it takes a lot of resilience, you know, just because it's like whether it be like, oh, this is predominantly white institution, or like, whoa, these are, you know, I'm a first generation, you know, college student. You know, it's like, oh shit, like my parents never had to like go through like these lectures like or big words like this, you know, and it's like I think it's just like a constant like uplifting of yourself. You're like, I gotta do this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I want to do this because I deserve it and because I want it and because like I'm doing this for me, you know? So I think like that's like what I would just say is it's like, know what you want and be like, yeah, this is who I am. This is what I do. Obviously open to learning because again, like I absorbed so much, but as much as I absorbed, as much as I was saying, this is what I do. This is me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I think, like, every black and brown peer I have is, like, yeah, like, to be a brown and black person here is, like, it's a lot sometimes, you know? But if you have that mental, like, capacity and just, like, to be, like, yo, like, I'm pushed through, then you're good. You're
Mm-hmm.
golden.
Mm-hmm.
Which is important because it's just important.
Oh, thank you. That was so good. Thank you for letting me
Oh,
interview you, and thank you for
thank
all your
you.
wise words.
Thank you for considering me.
Of
And I hope the
course.
rest of the series it goes really good.
Thank you. I'm still trying to find an animation person, architecture. I think I found a ceramics and a metal working person.
Ooh,
So,
yeah.
yeah, I'm trying to get like everyone.
Yeah,
Because I keep
yeah.
getting questions that I
Get
can't
so
personally
get someone
answer.
disciplinary. You gotta
Mm-hmm.
get someone disciplinary because
Yeah, I
they're gonna
have
have a
one.
lot of
That's the person that does ceramics, but they also do like so many other things.
awesome,
Yeah.
perfect, awesome.
Oh, okay. Well, let's wave goodbye to this recording.
Bye everyone.
Bye.